everyone, it's Natasha from Treasure Books. Have you ever wondered what treasures you might be missing at your local thrift store? Well, I recently took a little trip to secondhand shops, and after many years of thrifting, I've become a bit of a pro at spotting the best finds for my bookmaking adventures. Today, I'm excited to share what I purchased on my latest trip, but instead of just showing you random stuff, I've organized everything into 8 specific categories. My hope is that presenting information this way will help you to know exactly what to look for next time you go on a thrifting adventure. All right, let's dive in, starting with category number 1, which is books. Okay, my plan is not to bore you today, so we're going to go through this fairly quickly, and I'm just quickly going to tell you what I look for. First of all, I love going into the gardening section and looking for books that have images that are not photographs. So this is personal preference. I prefer images like this. They look absolutely beautiful when fussy cut, and they're not actual photography images. I can use full pages in my journal. I can cut out the images. I have some larger images, and that's kind of the thing that I'm looking for in the gardening section. And of course, if I can find Edith Holden, that's always a bonus. I can't find it anymore, but regardless, this is the kind of thing I'm looking for. So these are, as I said, like drawn images rather than photographed, and I'll show you the difference. I was struggling to find an example to show you, but I'm sure you know what I mean. This is an example of photograph images, and this is illustrated. And I think this is what the appeal is with Edith Holden books. All of the images inside are illustrated, and not only that, the writing also, it's actually her writing. And the colors and everything, I think that's what the appeal is with these books, and I'm always on the lookout for these books. Very difficult to come by. And then of course, like I said, I'll just quickly open a book to any page and I'll know straight away photographed images or illustrated images, and that's how I choose a book. This is quite a chunky book, and it cost me $3 Australian. Another thing I like to look for is books in other languages. This, I'm not sure what it is, but if I had to guess, I would say Vietnamese. I am going to use Google Images and like reverse images and see what language this is and what kind of a book this is, because I really don't want to be getting Bibles and things like that in other languages. So I at least like to know what the book is about. So I've got this one, Vietnamese, I'd say. I also have this one, which is, I believe, German, and these are books that I've found previously at my up shopping adventures. This one looks like it's Italian. This one is Cyrillic writing, Serbian, so I especially love writing that's different to my writing, like this here. And then I've got this one, I would guess this one's Polish. Anyway, I have a few, like I'd love to have maybe all different languages. I mean, that's not going to happen, but anyway, that's the kind of thing I like. And I like to use these pages in collages, part of my journals, in packs, all sorts of different things. This one is a little bit pricey. I do not usually pay this much money for books. In fact, usually I don't buy books, but I kind of went up shopping, and I knew that I'm gonna share you know, tips and all of that with you guys, so I splurged and I paid $4.50. By the way, I'm going to tell you the prices as we go. Next thing I look for is this kind of a thing, and I know that you'll know straight away why I got this book. And this one cost $4, and I had a quick glance inside and I saw images like these, and these are all paintings, and there's some really stunning images, and I love to cut these images out. Now, I'm not saying I am going to cut into this book. Most likely, yes, I will. But don't come at me in the comments. I mean, this book is now in my possession, and I can do with it as I please. Okay. But I may not. I may like to keep... Look at this. You know, I can use these images on front covers of journals. I can make journaling spots and all sorts of things. You can see this is quite old and sun bleached, and this is beautiful. I can turn this whole thing into a journal, so like double points for this one. We have a hardcover book, we have beautiful images, and of course this jacket kind of thing, like a hardcover jacket. So bonus points for this one. Okay, this one, I have found something like this before, and I just simply love the idea of these mandala books. Coloring in was all the craze a few years back, and now you can find an abundance of coloring books in op shops. This one cost me $2, and what I do with this kind of thing is I tea dye the pages, and then I cut out the doilies, and I think these look very beautiful in journals. In fact, I made a video, well, anyway, you haven't seen it yet, so we're not going to talk about that. But anyway, there's lots of things that I can do with these. They're like paper doilies, but they're quite sturdy. And I just love having this kind of a thing in my stash, and I can just grab a piece and off I go. So when I saw this book on my recent adventure to the op shop, I knew I had to get it, and so I did. So the next step for this is tea dyeing. All right, next, this one, I have been eyeing this for quite a few years actually. I wanted to get it years ago, and I never did because I didn't want to pay full price for it, let's be honest. And I actually came across it at the shops just recently for $3. So this kind of thing, I might actually, I haven't decided yet if I'm going to keep it for personal use and use it daily, or what I usually do with this kind of thing is find the middle of the signatures, find the stitching, it's right there, cut open those stitches, pull out the pages, and then sprinkle these pages into journals that I'm making. I think with books like this, usually I start off really fully into it, and I'm gonna do it like for one day, then another day, and then I'll do it for like 10 days, and then I'll forget about it, and it never actually ends up being fully finished. But I think it's really cool to keep this kind of a record every day. This is for like morning, and this is for the evening. And anyway, so when I saw this, this was a no-brainer, because I can, one, use the pages throughout journals if I wish to, two, use it for personal use if I wish to, three, look at this beautiful cover. This is just absolutely beautiful, canvasy kind of a cover. I can turn this whole thing into a handmade journal. So, you know, quite a bonus. Quite a bargain, I should say. And then they have this kind of a thing, like grab bags of stuff, and then you don't know what you're getting. So this was $3.50. All the prices are in Aussie dollars. All right, first of all, love this kind of thing because this gets sprinkled into journals as I'm making them and whatnot. So I always love to have little notebooks like this. And then these kinds of books usually have nice images. Let's see. Okay, not bad. You know, this isn't the kind of thing that I would actually, well, actually, let's look at this one. Beautiful. Oh, look at this. And these are all photographs, but they seem quite aged and muted kind of. They're not very shiny and bright like in a magazine or like a book, you know, with photo. Anyway, I can cut these out. I can use them on journal covers as journaling spots. So many different things. So perhaps, yes, I would purchase this book. Let's have a look at the top. So I can see that this book is glued, which means unfortunately I can't remove, you know, attached pages and pop them into signatures. So that's kind of a bummer, but anyway, not bad. And plus hardcover book. If it was on its own, it wouldn't be worth $3.50, but together with this, it's not too bad, I suppose. All right, we're ready for the next category. And the next category actually is tools, and you never know what you're gonna find. It can be stamps, it can be punches, it can be really anything. I'm just gonna show you what I found this time around. So I'm not even entirely sure what this is, but it cost me $4, and I figure, you know, I can't go wrong. It looks like a mini die cut machine, embossing or die cutting machine. I'm not entirely sure. And it looks like it already has something between the plates. All right, let's see. It's either a complete waste of money or not. Okay, it has this, which I don't know, what is that? Teddy bear. What is that? And sometimes these things can cause more work than necessary. Like now, I have to go and clean all this sticky residue from the sticky tape. I hate it when they do that in op shops. And also when you buy things secondhand, you might get only half of the instructions. I'm sure I can work it out. I can use my little die cuts in here. I'm gonna test it out. I figured for $4, it's not too bad. I just grabbed it and there we have it. But I think it's always better to spend money on tools rather than supplies. So instead of buying all these different die cuts, it's better to buy a machine that you can use over and over and over and over again to create die cuts. All right, next thing I found. I am very excited about this and it cost me $9. And by the looks of it, it's something from the 90s. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever seen this before, but it seems like, I mean, look at these photographs. Look at this lady. I don't want to be mean. I'm just saying, you know, this looks like it was from 20, 30 years ago kind of thing. You know, it just seems like an old thing. But there's even a receipt. It's actually got the person's address. I'm going to hide that. It cost $164. When? 2006. Okay, so it's not as old as I thought. All right. What is it? Well, I have no idea what it is either, but it's called Gem Magic. Gem Magic. I don't know. And boy, do I have ideas for this. In fact, I use these kinds of things to alter brads in my DIY brads video. Have a look at that. I'll link it down below. This is just one of the ways. And I wasn't sure what they're called. I think I thought then they were called studs or something. And people gave me lots of explanations and tips on how I can use these things. But look, now I have this machine that I have to work out how to use. I mean, this whole thing is pure excitement for me because I can alter covers or add little gems onto hardcover books, for example. I don't know. I can do so many things with it. And I also have instructions. Perfect. And these like motif things, you know. Look at this. Oh, I'm so excited about this. I was like, when I saw it, I didn't even know what it was. I'm like, I'm getting it. Look at this. I'm not gonna be making Christmas stuff and putting these onto my clothes or shoes. I might. I mean, and I also have a daughter. She would love this kind of stuff. We can do belts. We can do, anyway, all sorts of stuff. Gem Magic or Gem Magic. I would say this is an absolute treasure of a find. So this is the kind of thing that gets me really excited when I find stuff like this at the op shop. Okay, moving along. I don't really have a lot of things to show you from this trip, but just very quickly in the tools section, I found these on my previous trips years ago. Who knows? I remember this one cost $7. I do remember that. Then I found, for example, these pinking shears, and they were $4. And you know what? They're useless. I mean, I probably need to get them sharpened, so I'm staying away from using buying these secondhand. However, they still are absolutely perfect to use on paper. So that's just an example. Okay, on this trip, I found this, and it cost $3.50, and I'm pretty sure this is for clay. All right, so there's even some clay. Is this clay? Yes, it's oven-baked clay. I'm actually going to do a video. if you have clay, this will be cool. I use clay to make faux stamp seals. Okay, that's just one example. But the main reason why I got this packet is because I think they're going to be great for using with on a stamping pad. They have this cool handle at the back, and I can, you know, use my stamping pad. I'm going to try it out now. But they can be like mark making materials. Let's try this one. So like a lot of these things I look at and I think, what other uses, how can I use them? I know you know this. Like, it doesn't have to be for its original purpose. It can be for something completely different. That's pretty cool. Look at that. This is the one I'm excited about. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay, well, this alone is worth however much that was. $3.50, I think it was. I love this, and I can cut them out and make them into like journaling little things. All right, this was definitely a good buy. So the thing is, things like this you can use over and over and over again. I'm gonna have this in my craft room probably for who knows for how long, for the next 20 years, you know, until it falls apart. Tools are pretty cool because it's not something that you use up. It's something that keeps on giving. I don't mind paying a little bit of extra money for something that will just keep on giving over and over and over again, rather than something like this. This was just on my desk, so I'm going to show it to you. Like paying for this kind of a thing, and you use it. Once you use it, it's used. It's not something that you can keep on using. So that's always a factor when I'm deciding whether to buy something or not, and looking at the prices. I always think about that kind of thing. Next thing I have in the tools section is this bookbinding cord. It's actually, I don't know, it's called wax threads, and I occasionally find them, and I think they are like some type of vintage thing because they look very old. But look at this. Look at the thickness and the sturdiness of this. That's pretty cool. And I don't know how much this one was because it doesn't have a price, but I think they gave it to me for free. Pretty sure. Okay, now this one isn't really for making journals, but I find some of the labels that I use, they peel off, and I use labels to label my craft room, and I hate it when things peel off. Like for example, look at this. I just can't stand this. I hate it so much. Like it's just sticking up there. So when I saw that these labels are UV resistant, water resistant, aggressive, adhesive, I was like, I'm paying $4 for this because that's what I need in my craft room. Toughest labels for your stuff. The only problem is I don't know how large they are. So let's find out together, shall we? Oh, this is perfect. Look, they are thick. Oh, wow. And they are aggressive. All right. Wow, look at that. Well, okay, I'm gonna stop gushing over labels, but they're pretty cool and very, very thick, aggressive. That's what I want in my labels. So that was definitely a good find. Our next category, of course, is paper. Okay, I know you know what's coming, and this is the kind of thing, whatever you find, you just grab it. This was $1. And it's kind of, I think this was my fault when I was bringing it home. Anyway, it was $1. If it was like $1.50 or $2, I wouldn't have gotten it. But I think they are 8x8 sheets. And I was thinking I can fold them, use them as pages in journals. I don't like that they have this wrinkly kind of business going on now. But it's not a bad paper. So anyway, I'm stuck with it now, aren't I? I suppose it's not bad for $1. All right, next thing. I always look for things like this. These two books cost me $2. And first of all, I love, was it this one or was it this one? I had a peek inside. I love paper that's slightly different than what we're used to. So when I opened this and I looked at it, I thought, okay, this is great. Another thing that I like is this, you know, the large size of it. The thing that I don't like is that the paper is very, very thin. And this one here as well. The paper is very, very thin. And also what I don't like is the fact that the pages are not stapled together, but they are glued. So you see that. So I can't use this in a signature, like as a full kind of page. I would have to fold it this way. So this is a little bit of regret feelings right now. I think, you know, I was at the shop and I was like, looked at it, and then I opened one of them. I think it was this one, and I just grabbed it. I thought, you know, $2. It's really not that much, but it's not terrific. It's not great. Now, this kind of stuff, on the other hand, you can find this very cheap, brand new at shops. Kids' scrapbooks. So if you look inside, it is stapled. So you remove these staples, and then you can remove the whole sheet, and then you can use these large sheets in your journals. Now this is something that I'll always get. I actually have enough of them to last me a lifetime, if I'm being honest. So there's that. In fact, I'm working on a large journal right now, and I just want to show you this. These are large pages that have been, what did I use? I can't remember. Was it red cabbage or what? Usually I'll just do tea dyeing or coffee dyeing, and then I have extra large pages ready to go. So if my journal is this big, I can just trim down the pages and so on. Or I can use these individual pages that I had to rip for whatever reason, and still when I fold it in half, it gives me a really larger page than the A4 sheet folded in half. All right, next, this one was $4.50, these two things, and there must be a reason why I thought it was worth the price. First of all, gratitude journal. Ah, yes, I must have looked at this when I was purchasing it. So first of all, these are the pages I love to use in journals. I love to sprinkle them through. So this goes into the category of paper rather than books, because I know for a fact I'm going to be removing these pages. I'm going to be opening these stitches up, removing the pages, and I'll have these kinds of things for my journals. And I think it's nice to journal something like this every now and again rather than every single day, because it can become repetitive. Like, can you really think of this many reasons to be grateful for every single day without constantly repeating yourself? My home, my kids, my parents, my dog, food, you know, like how many, you know. Anyway, that's stop going on a tangent, Natasha. Okay, this one, I imagine they're cards. Let's see, do I imagine correctly? Yes. And envelopes, of course. This is the kind of thing that I always use. If it was on its own, I probably wouldn't purchase it, because I really truly don't need any more than I already have. But envelopes alone I can use in so many different projects. And these cards, I can make them into journals, especially cards that don't have any random stuff writing on the inside, a whole bunch of stuff at the back. Look at just this section. Excellent. I think these two things, absolutely a good buy. And another thing that I like to look for in op shops are letter sets. Don't think I found any on this trip, but this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. And usually they come in like a little box, and then they have the paper separate to the envelopes. And I always just marry them right away. I put the paper inside the envelopes, and then this goes into my ready-made things to go inside journals. And yeah, I love this kind of stuff as well. Next thing I always like to pick up, and especially if it's good price, this one is $3 for all of this, is manila folders. I absolutely use a lot of these in my crafting. They are like cardstock pieces. You can make so many things with these, including pages for journals, of course, journal covers, cardstock pieces for whatever it is that you're making. The possibilities are endless, really. And it's just, I think of it as just really thick paper. I'm not a fan of this yellow, you know. I'm probably going to struggle with this one a little bit. The green and purple and red and navy blue, not the type of a color that I personally go for when making journals, but I'm sure I will find a use for this, especially for matting images or whatever. You know, I know for a fact that I use a lot of these, so especially if it's good price, I'm gonna grab it. I would have preferred for all of the folders to be this creamy type manila folder color, but anyway, it is what it is. How much was it? $2, I think it was. Yeah, that's a bit of a, I'm happy with that. All right, among the same lines, I found another little manila folder type of thing. This was $2, but these are like colorful, and again, I can use this in a lot of stuff. Probably $2 for this is probably a little bit much, but you know, it's just really fancy cardstock. That's how I look at it. And when I went to a thrift store, I was kind of picking out things that I know I will use, but also things that I wanted to show you. So if it wasn't for the video, I probably wouldn't pay $2 for this, but there it is. I'm glad that I have it. Okay, next thing I can never ever walk past and leave it alone is this type of thing. $3, that's a lot, isn't that? Let's see if it's worth it. I'm thinking that this is a little envelope set. Oh, yes it is. And they're actually little cards. Okay, all right. If I had known, I was thinking that it's like a notepad or it says notelets, so I was thinking little notebooks. Okay, if I had known, I mean, that's pretty cool for something like Easter Bunny or whatever. I don't do Easter Bunny thing for journals, but you know, Alice in Wonderland maybe, I don't know. Look, how much did I say it was? Whatever I said it was, I have slight regrets for this one. I had high hopes, I don't know why. But it's from 1993, it's vintage. Okay, next thing I hate, I mean, well, let's start with the thing that I hate, okay? I hate it when, this is a Kmart brand, Anko, and you can get this for $1 at Kmart. So why do op shops price it at exactly the same price? Like this can be, when it's on special, you can get it brand new, even though this is brand new, but I'm talking in general. Like I see lots of clothes, Kmart brand clothes in op shops, and the prices are exactly the same, only at Kmart you get a brand new, and in the op shop you get it worn, sometimes stained. I don't get it, what's going on with op shops lately, but I got these, I paid $1 for them, and they're place cards, but obviously, I mean, I can use this as a mini little journal cover, and in fact, I love using things like this. I have it ready, I don't have to cut it down, I don't have to crease it, it already has a crease. I can use it for a tab in a journal, for example. I can just do a little cut here and a little cut here, and I have an extra large tab. So these kinds of things are quite versatile. So every time I see this type of a thing, I'm gonna grab it. I can have it cut in half and it can be, you know, a book plate, okay? So here's just an example. When I'm making journals, I always have offcuts. You've probably seen this box of mine a million times before, but these are all papers and all offcuts from making journals, but we're not going to throw away these beautiful offcuts. And then when I have, let's say, something like this, I can go in and bind it into this, chop off the excess. I probably wouldn't do it with this, but let's say, for example, this is perfect size. I can fold it in half, make myself a little signature. I'm not going to do it now. You see where I'm going with this. Chop this off, and I have a little booklet that can go inside a journal, inside a pocket, etc. So lots of little different uses for that one. Okay, the last thing in this category that I found this time is this, and I can't wait to, I haven't actually looked at it. I wanted to share it with you. It was $5, but would you look at that original price, $20. What a bargain, or is it? Well, if you don't use it, it's not a bargain, that's for sure. I hate it when I have to deal with things like this. Okay, let's have a look inside. So of course I could see straight away that these notebooks are removable. It's like a travel style notebook, and I got this beautiful cover that is not marked. There's no brand on it, so I can absolutely make a journal. I can sell the journal. Does that make sense? I can make a handmade journal, 3 signatures, let's say, full of beautiful things. I can put them in here. Oh, look at these pages, and I can sell this journal. So that's the kind of thing I'm looking at when purchasing these things. I can't, unfortunately, use these as pages in signatures. Well, I could, but the stitching is quite close together. So if I was to like unstitch everything and remove, the pages might be a little bit weak there at the spine. Love this, absolutely love this. So I'll definitely use up all of these. And the best thing is there's 3 notebooks in here, but I can fit 4 signatures, and I know because I've done tutorials on things like these before. So I mean, of course you can make your own, but you can also, if you find something like this, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, definitely worth the $5. Honestly, I would say it's worth the $20. I'm definitely happy with this purchase, and an absolute bargain for $5. I'll show you this very quickly. I bought this fancy thing, and I think the cover alone I paid $40. I don't know what I was thinking. I mean, and this, I put this gold stuff down. It was just blank like this, and I did love it when I first got it. It's the same kind of a system, you know, and I did love it. I think I loved the idea of it more than actually using it. I did try to kind of use it a bit, but I don't know. So knowing how much I paid for this thing, because I'm just a sucker for all things planners and beautiful things like this, knowing how much I paid for this, I think I kind of redeemed myself now, finding that other thing for $5. Dun, 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 dun. We're on to the next category, which is, of course, embellishments. We can't have a video without embellishments, can we? All right, let's see what I found. First of all, old habits die hard. So I found some brads, and even though I now know that I can make my own brads, I could not pass these brads up because I love these large brads, and I paid $8 for all of this, and it seems a little bit excessive paying $8 for this. But knowing myself and knowing how much I use brads, I'm going to use all of this up, and this is going to last me a long time. This is going to last me many projects. So sometimes I look at things like this and I think, oh, is this a bit much? But then when I look at how many brads I have, there's 15 brads, so that the cost for each brad is 13 cents. I think that's pretty reasonable. Whereas full price for these brads at Kaiser Craft is, I don't know how much, but it's definitely a lot more than $2. Okay, bargain. Next thing, every time I see flowers like this, paper flowers, this is a lot of money. But I know I will use them. And I know I'm kind of filming, I wouldn't pay this much money now because I have a whole box of paper flowers. I really don't need them anymore, but I love them at the same time. So anyway, paper flowers, there's a whole bunch in there. It's a lot of flowers. There's 60 flowers. This is going to last a long time. So I think actually I'll tell you my secret. My secret is this. Now, after many years of crafting and filming, making projects, selling projects, and also thrifting, this is how I operate now. I go to an op shop and I find the thing. If I take it in my hand and I go, oh my God, yes. Oh, this is so cool. I'm going to use this and this and that. It's a yes. If I find something and I go, I could, oh, this is not bad. I could use it as maybe like a cover for a journal, or maybe, you see where I'm going with this? If I take something in my hand and I'm trying to talk myself into buying it, then it's a definite no and it has to go back. All right, this you can see what it is. It's a whole bunch of die cuts, and I think $3 is okay to pay for this kind of thing. I absolutely love butterflies, and I see some butterflies in there, and already it's worth it for me. And I actually have this same pack already that I've pretty much used up completely. So I know that there's some really nice things in this pack, like this and this, definitely worth the $3. And I think what's happened is you might notice that a lot of these things are from Kaiser Craft. And I'm starting to find a lot of Kaiser Craft, like all of these things I've shown you so far, and like more things are from Kaiser Craft, because they are moving away. I don't know. They seem to be moving away from this kind of thing and more into giftware. So a lot of these things are ending up in op shops, and I'm grabbing them because I know it's not going to last forever. All right, next thing. We're spending too much time here. I'm gonna try and hurry up. Leaf embellishments. I think these are gorgeous in projects, and I've used them in many different ways. I just know myself that I'm going to use them, so I got them. They were only $1. I got them. These are just, I mean, look at this. It's so pretty, little tags. They were $1, and to be honest with you, my mom gave me these, and she gave them to me just the other day, and I knew I was gonna film this video, so I popped them into the box. And this as well. So there's just some, these are stickers, and you know, if I was in an op shop myself right now and I come across this, maybe I wouldn't go for the stickers because it seems like I can't really use these. For example, it seems like a wedding theme. I can definitely use the corners. It's not worth the $1, but this definitely I would get. And then we have things like this, and I definitely overpaid kind of, because this is $2. It's a wooden embellishment thing. And just this one piece is $2. This is really beautiful in covers, and I've used things like this in the past. And also there's a few more pieces here, so it's not like $2 for one piece. This is actually $3 for 4 pieces, so it's kind of, you know, kind of evens it out. And then this Cherish and Love, I think it's beautiful on journal covers, $2. it's a yes. And plus, I have a whole box with like wooden and metal embellishments, and I have a whole bunch of those, and I do use them. And then when I start to run low, for example, I only have like a few pieces here, then I tend to start hoarding and not using. So whenever I can kind of replenish, I most definitely am going to. Okay, this is an example of one of those things when you see it, you're just like, oh, it's going, I'm getting it. And you don't even have to think. Tiny, tiny, tiny little baby doilies. How beautiful is this? Oh, this is just gorgeous, and I have no idea how much this was. It also comes with free hair. Don't you just love free hair? Okay, another little thing over here. This puffy little stickers. I love it. I'm gonna use it on covers and things. So that one was $2, and then this one was $3, and there's a few little different things inside here. I know because I've purchased these before. Back before I knew better, I used to get them for full price at Kaiser Craft, and they're like die cuts, right? So that kind of thing. $3. Look, to be honest, it's a little bit expensive. I'd be happier with $2 or even $1, you know, like this. $1. I couldn't resist this because it's so cute. It's got all different little things in there, little pegs and some little butterflies and pom-poms, and this is good just on its own to give me an idea. You can do like a little gift for a little girl for her crafting adventures in a little jar. I think it's so cool, and it was only $1, so I'm happy to pay for an idea and a few little different bits and pieces. $1. Oh, these are even like little, they can be little charms. Look at that. Now that is worth it. Came with a free idea too. Definitely worth $1. All right, this is the last thing I have to show you in the embellishments section or category, and it was $4.50. The reason why I got it is because of this. I'll show you what this is. This, I don't want this, but now I have it because it's part of this grab bag thing, and I have to take it back to the op shop, and it's just another thing that's going to clutter my home. So you know, this is why I was thinking long and hard, but I already have these in my stash, and I already use them, and there's a whole bunch, and I was thinking, is it worth, oh, look at this, oh, how cool, is this worth $4.50? It's not worth it if you're not going to use it. But what about if you are going to use it? I'll show you what they are. They're kind of like little tags you're supposed to put on presents. But of course, that's not how I use them. And now I'm going to attempt to find an example of how I use them. Do you think I can find an example now to show you? No, of course not. So I'm just going to have to tell you. I mean, I've used them before, but I simply cannot find an example. So anyway, this is how I use them. I know that now your wheels are turning. I put them onto the side of a page. It would be nice to have a page without anything on it, but for example, I glue them onto the side of a page like this, and then I have this here to hang a little charm on. So that's how I use these, and I can even leave them out for a bit as a little bit of a tab and a little thing to attach a charm on. Okay, so when I saw this, I was like, oh, I mean, do I really need this many? Probably not, but there's a lot here. Each pocket seems to have 8. So altogether, there's 128 of those individual ones. Do you think that's worth $4.50? You know, I think it is. Okay, moving on to the next category, which is doilies, fabrics, etc. All right, let's see what I've got. I'm always on the lookout for things like this, things that I can cut up into individual little flowers. And here I have an example of something that I already cut up. It was like a tablecloth thing, and it had these small little flowers, and then it had these large flowers, and I got a whole bunch here. It was quite a large tablecloth, and then I can go ahead and I can dye them all different colors. These are all Easter egg dyes and so on. So that's the thing I'm always on the lookout for. I'm not sure how much this one cost me, but I wouldn't pay more than $1, possibly even $2. And then things like this, doilies, I can use these on covers and as individual pages in journals. I like that idea. Again, depends on the price and I have a few different ones. There's also this one, and then this type of a thing, this type of a thing. I know that people buy these and then they scan them and like sell them as printables, but anyway, I'm not gonna do that. All right, another thing I got this time is this large, what is it? I don't know. It's $4. It was $4, and it's like maybe a tablecloth. I mean, the colors are pretty ugly for me personally. I don't like these colors. I wouldn't want to display this in my home or anything like that, but I can go in and cut these away from each other. And in fact, I've already started. And these are all individually crocheted or knitted little doilies. And I love this. I mean, the colors on their own, really not my kind of thing, but I think layering flowers and using like a brad in the middle, it's a beautiful embellishment. So just quickly, going back to those paper flowers that I love so much, I can do something perhaps like this. Now, of course, I have a whole bunch of these DIY brads. I made a video recently. Anything will do. Let's go with this one. Pop the brad through, and then this can be attached onto covers or pages or so many different things, right? And look at this, a quick little embellishment. I mean, I can make them look a lot better than this, but just as an example, if you find stuff like this, look how many, there's just an abundance here. And a part of me feels like some lady somewhere spent all this time knitting this beautiful thing. Perhaps it was a gift for a grandchild. Anyway, for some reason, it ended up in the op shop, and better for someone to use it in whatever way rather than it going into landfill. That's my thoughts. And of course, this kind of a thing. Separate. I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad at all doing this, because I know it will eventually be a part of a beautiful project, and I just love it so much. Okay, another thing I found are these handkerchiefs. They were $2. Would have been better if it was $1, but it is what it is, and they are so very beautiful. And the way that I like to use these, lately anyway, I can use them in many different ways, but lately what I like to do, and I'm going to show you a real example, is first I will iron it, and then I like to fold them like this and use them as actual pages in a journal. And I know you can't really see how it's going to look, so I'm going to show you. Here it is in action. This is my chunky overfilled shabby chic journal. And looking for the handkerchief, here it is. So it's a page in a journal. This is one side, and I folded it up just like I've shown you, and I made it into a pocket. I brought this in so it's not kind of sticking out. So that's a pocket. Beautiful. And then the other side is right over here. Another pocket. And I think it looks absolutely stunning, especially in this shabby chic journal. All right, that's that one. And I think once they are ironed, gorgeous. Now, when it comes to fabrics, I don't buy fabrics really much anymore because I have an abundance of fabrics. But if I see something like this is a no-brainer. I'm gonna grab this straight away. This is gold. Perhaps it's not coming through in the video, but I can use this for so many different things, and it's just so beautiful. I can even just cut up the individual squares like this, so I can use them on top of covers, all sorts of stuff, right? So when I see something this beautiful, absolutely, it's a yes. Or something like this. I'm pulling things out of my stash now because you don't really tend to find such things a lot. Like I didn't find this on my recent trip to the op shops, but also looking at trims like this, something that you love. I love gold. So every time I find something this beautiful, it goes into the basket. These are all secondhand things found over the years. Things like this and this and so on. Okay, I know I love gold. I use it a lot. When I see it in an op shop, I'm grabbing it. Next category I zone in on are containers and storage. So you know, as a crafter, we use a lot of these types of boxes, and instead of buying them new, I just keep my eyes peeled at op shops. This one was $2, and you know, I mean, this is very good quality one. It is missing these dividers here, but I can make this work. $2 worth it. All right, next thing I have is this. This kind of falls into this category because actually it's a stamp storage. It is quite old, and slightly disgusting, but I figure I can try and clean that a little bit. But I have a lot of stamps, and you know, I did make my own, which now I have to show you, of course. This was part of a video that I did on using up large book covers, and I did lots of ideas in that video. This is just one of them, and I made my own little storage, stamp storage kind of a book. For this one, I didn't make any pages. This is all there is. I think it's beautiful, and I can, of course, make the pages and make my own thing, but I have a lot of stamps. In fact, stamps is one of the things that I like to take or grab at the op shops, and they would fall into the embellishments category, I suppose. So anyway, here's I mean, it is a little bit disgusting. I can make it work. I can remove these pages and give it a bit of a clean. You know, for $2, not bad. If it was more than $2, I wouldn't have gotten it. Another thing I found this time around is this container. Let's say it's $5, and it actually has a mirror over here. I paid $5 for it. It's a lot, but this is my favorite color in the world. It's absolutely beautiful. Feels like some type of a leather or something, I'm not sure. And it has this little clip, and it just feels rich. I don't know. This one was a no-brainer for me. When I saw this, I was like, yeah, I'm getting this. I might not even use it in my craft room. Could be like for jewelry or makeup, could be for beads, could be for many different things. So versatile piece of equipment storage, let's say. Okay, and another thing is this. I found this for $2. I reckon that's a pretty good price. 12 pocket expanding file, and also it's brand new, but now that I've opened it, look at this. This is completely stiff. I mean, okay, so that's very old. Brand new, but very old. I can definitely put my own thing in here, so that's no big deal. It expands quite a lot. So for this kind of thing, it's quite large, and I can have a whole bunch of papers in here stored, let's say. I can have my tea dyed papers, my Easter dyed papers. You know what to do with this. You can just, it's a filing system, and I think it works beautiful in a craft room. I already have 2 of these, and they're already full. And I think at the end of the day, it's a bargain for $2. And even if I didn't use it for a filing system, which I will, I can completely dismantle this whole thing. And I have black cardstock, all these pages. I have this very thick cardboard here. I can make a whole bunch of stuff with just that. And then of course the flap. And of course this whole thing can be turned into a mega journal. So lots of potential uses, but of course I'm going to be using it as a filing system. Our next category is jewelry, beads, buttons, findings, and that kind of a thing. I didn't get very lucky this time around. I only got a few things, so I'll show you what I kind of look for. First of all, this, I'm pretty sure this is fishing stuff. It was $1. I grabbed it because I can use these as attachments onto spines for charms and tassels and all sorts of stuff. All right, so that was a definite yes when I saw that. Next thing, when looking at necklaces, for example, it all depends on the price. These here are glass beads. So of course, you know, again, it depends on the price. I'm going to be looking for very good quality things. Otherwise, I'm going to look for if they have bags of broken jewelry with all sorts of fun stuff for a very low price. I'll grab that. Another thing I'm on the lookout for is things like this. This is some type of a necklace or a belt, who knows. But look at the amount of little charms that it has on it. So rather than paying for charms, I'm going to grab necklaces like this. Yes, it does take a little bit of time to remove all these charms, but I don't tend to like remove the charms and then store them away, whatever. I tend to, when I need it, I'm going to come in and just grab a little charm. This one fell off, so I'm going to put it back on there. And here it is, a little charm, right, to be attached into many different things. And look how many there are. But I don't tend to buy this stuff anymore because I do have plenty, years and years of thrifting, made sure. But I would suggest you talk to your friends. All this fun stuff in here was from friends getting rid of their stuff they no longer wear. And instead of donating or throwing in the bin, they give it to me. So for example, this necklace. I don't know how well you can see, but if this was donated, it would be thrown in the bin, unfortunately, because it's worn, the color has changed. But have a look at all these are all individual. You can't even see them because there's so many. They're all individual little charms. I'm gonna take one off, and look at this abundance in just this one piece of jewelry. Look how many. So of course, if I'm in an op shop, depending on the price again, I'm gonna look at an individual piece and look at how many things it has to offer, basically, and then make a decision. Okay, things like these, I like to use them as closures. I'll show you an example. And also this, both of these were used as closures. And then again this, look at all these hanging little bits, gorgeous little charms, long charms, even better. And yeah, just a whole bunch of stuff, you know, this kind of thing. Look at how many charms. All right, so here's my Halloween journal. If you want to see this journal, I'll link it down below, but it's kind of hard to show you from this perspective. But you can see I use the necklace as a closure, and it just opens up very simply like this. All right, and holds my journal closed. And there it is on my shelf. And I'm not going to pull this one down because I already pulled it down, but this one, this is my shabby chic journal, and this is a choker necklace. It's a closure. It's a little bit too large for this journal, but anyway. So this is my journal shelf. I have a video on all of my journals, sharing all of them. If you want to have a look, I'll have a link down below. All right, here's an extra category I'm throwing in there. It wasn't planned, but I started this video with these on screen, so I'm going to show you. We're going to call this category art supplies, let's say. So when I saw this in a secondhand shop, I just had to get it. All right, so it's like a tote. I'm just going to open it, and dun, 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 it was actually full when I purchased it. I paid a bit of money for this. I think I paid 20 bucks for this. So it's not fully full, but I just had to. I had to get it because look at all this storage, and I've had it for a while and I haven't really filled it up with anything else. But you know, all the pans and everything, it was, and just how pretty it is. I just had to have it. This is one of those things that I splurged on because it's so pretty, and I just felt like I had to have it. And of course, there was a bit of FOMO because this one was found on the same day at the same place, and I felt like, what if I never see something this pretty again? So I bought this one as well, and this one cost me 10 bucks. And it's pretty much the same thing. This one is completely empty. All right, so in this category, I just want to show you these two really, but in this category, we can have things like stamps and paints and crayons and anything for like art journaling. You can get it pretty cheap at $2 shops, to be honest, but if you can find a whole bag of all different stuff, then definitely, again, it depends on the price. But for example, these are just examples I'm pulling out. I paid way too much money for this one. It was $5.25. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought post-up colors, oh, that must be some special color, but actually it's just watercolor, acrylic paints. So I really paid too much money. But anyway, this was years ago I got this one. And then I also came across this. These are all puff paints. What am I going to do with puff paints? I don't know. And to be honest with you, if I found these in an op shop today, even if it cost maybe 50 cents, I would get the whole thing. $1? No, because I've had this for a long time and I still am really not sure how I'm going to use it, like in my journal making. So this is just examples perhaps of what not to get unless you know exactly how you're going to use puff paints. Is that what it's called? Dimensional fabric paint. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I'm sure that one day I'll get an idea. And this, just last little thing I want to say about this. Many, many years ago, I spent a lot of time acquiring things rather than crafting. So the acquiring phase, I often talk about it, is a hobby in and of itself. And you tend to amass a whole bunch of stuff and a whole bunch of ideas, but you're not actually using it. And in this stage is where you purchase all these things that you think, oh, this is going to be cool for something. And then you're kind of stuck with it because you're not sure exactly what it's cool for. And that's what this purchase is for me. So I'm now thinking I could perhaps take this and I could do, I don't know, little dots on this flower. But you know, I have to wait for it to dry, probably 24 hours. That to me is just not something that I would do. So this is not something that I would buy again. And also this. What am I going to do with ceramic glazes? When I purchased this, I thought, oh, this is going to be cool for when I'm making DIY modeling paste and stuff like that, so I can color it with these ceramic pigments. But I ended up just using acrylic paint when I was... So, I don't know. I wouldn't be buying this again. Now, this, on the other hand, these are all secondhand finds over the years. And these are all ink pads, and I use a lot of ink pads. So every time I see an ink pad at a, op shop, I'm gonna grab it. Again, depending on the price. And this one's actually brand new unopened ink pads. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay, this last category, I'm gonna call it miscellaneous, and I just have this one thing to show you. This is a grab bag. I paid $4.50 for it. And the reason why I paid this much money is because I saw this on the inside. I used to get a lot of these grab bags from Savers, and I stopped myself from doing that anymore unless I see something that I really, really want. So, for example, this. I can see here brads. I just love brads. I use them a lot. I mean, do I need any more safety pins? Probably not. Some buttons, some I don't know. This alone, of course, is not worth $4, whatever it was. But then there's more brads inside. Okay, we're getting a bit more value for money now. And then, okay, these, who doesn't use little sheets of paper? Oh, this is beautiful. This is perfect. These are going to be my little notes on my desk. Okay, that's good. These are brand new little frame things for like Christmas time. It could go on a Christmas tree. I could have a little photo in there. Oh, I don't know about this. I could attach this to a cover for Christmas time, like a journal, Christmas journal cover. Okay, so not bad, and already very good value for money if I brought this brand new, which I wouldn't. But they're $2 each. That's already $8 there. I don't know. Not bad, I suppose. Again, these, what are these? For DIY photo bobo. I can't say that word. Bobo. It's a bobo. Christmas thing. Okay, not bad. I can find a use for this. Obviously not in journal making, but that's kind of cute. I use these a lot in my house. So, I would say this little pack, $4.50. That was worth it. Is this worth it? No, definitely not. I would never buy this on its own. But part of a grab bag. It's kind of fun too. A big part of getting those grab bags is like coming home and then scavenging and seeing what you're gonna find. This is gonna go into that jewelry box. I'm not a big fan of these things, but they can be used for closures and things like that on journals. Tassels, we can definitely make some pretty things with this. And then this is a choker necklace by the looks of it. And of course, this can also be a cool little journal closure, or even it can go across the journal cover like this. It can be a tuck spot, which is what I did with my shabby chic journal. So let's call the miscellaneous category everything, all the other things that I haven't specified into their own categories. I mean, these are like embellishments and stuff, but anyway, I'm sure I've missed some stuff, so hence the miscellaneous category. So these are the categories we went over today, not in order, but these are my notes. And if you can think of any other category, please write it down in the comments below. Honestly, I think most of the stuff that we have can, for journal making anyway, can kind of fall into one of these categories. Another thing I wanted to mention, I found a whole box of these ugly looking things. It was a massive box, very cheap. And I love things like this because, and I know you've seen me use these before, because you can remove all of these flowers from their little plastic bits, and then you can create your own flowers, and you can create so many for a tiny little bit of money, I suppose. I'm going to show you an example, an actual example. I have a tutorial on these ring bound books. I'm going to link it down below, but we do it from start to finish. But you can see the edge of the journal, all these flowers. That's where the flowers came from. And then you have this kind of effect. This is a very cool little journal because it has all these like interactive elements and whatnots, you know, just lots of fun stuff. Anyway, I will link it down below if you want to have a look, but that's an idea for the flowers. Perhaps you don't have to have a whole row of flowers like this, but that was the look I was going for. And instead of purchasing like brand new ready-made flowers, I can make my own. Another thing that perhaps you might want to keep an eye out for, this was actually sent to me in Happy Mail. I use so many of these embroidery flosses. Look at this. And I use them for binding and many other things, okay? And if you can find a whole bunch of these and threads, like sewing threads and stuff like that, you can get all that stuff from secondhand shops. In fact, most of the stuff that I use in my crafting are secondhand. So I made a video a while ago, and it's called, I had to look it up. It's called 10 Free Things to Use in Junk Journals, Abundance of Inspiration. I'm going to have it linked, of course. If you enjoyed this kind of a video, you might even enjoy that video even more, because we're talking about free things, not things from op shops and thrift stores. We're talking about free stuff, and also in categories, and also lots of examples to help you, I suppose, on this journey. I don't know, you might want to watch that video next. There's a lot of stuff that I got and it cannot fit in this screen. So I chose my favorite little things, just so you have something pretty to look at while I'm yapping my goodbyes. So please let me know what you think of this video. Does it inspire you? Maybe not to go to the op shop. You know, sometimes it's nice to shop your stash, like to go through your things. Get rid of the things you no longer use. Get rid of the things you've had for years that you're not going to use. I don't know, maybe I should do that with my puff paints. I'm not sure. I'm kind of attached to them now. And that's the problem. There's a name for it. I think it's something like endowment syndrome or something like that, which is why when you go to a shop, they like to hand you things so you have it in your hand. And subconsciously, you are already creating emotional attachment to the thing. So when you buy something, doesn't matter how much money you pay. I mean, obviously, if you pay more money, more attachment you feel, right? But once you bring something into your home, it's very difficult to get rid of. And if you spend a lot of time scavenging the op shops or thrift store, I like to call it scavenging, and then you bring all these things home and you keep doing it for years on end, you end up drowning in stuff. So that's never a good idea. And I'm speaking from experience here. So luckily, the trips to the thrift stores are now rare. I know exactly what I want. I know exactly what I look for. I know exactly what I'm going to use. And I'm not buying anything that doesn't meet the criteria that I have in my head. And let's be honest, going to the thrift stores and looking for treasures is like Christmas time. It's fun. So, you know, there's that too. Anyway, let me know your thoughts, any categories that I have missed. And also, you know what might be a good idea? Let me know if you have something in your stash that you have no idea how to use. And then I can respond to that comment, or other people can respond to that comment, and we can help each other out. Because sometimes, well, in the past, I used to buy things where I don't really know what it is. And then I'm kind of stuck with it because it's mine now. I paid for it. I gotta keep it. But I don't know what I'm gonna use it for or what it is. Like, for example, okay, you know I like to go on tangents every now and again. I got a whole bag of these. I have no idea what they, now I do know. And I thought, oh, these are cool for closures because I can attach like an elastic around here and it can be front of my journal. I think it's gonna look really cool. I did not know what they are, but then I asked in some or other Facebook group. This was before my YouTube days, okay? And people said that they are like horse, I forgot, but something to do with horses, but it's a mini little replica of the horse thing. I would say this falls into the tools category for sure. And I have a bag and I've had this for many, many years. And have I used it? No. Am I going to part with it? Also, no. So maybe you also have stuff like that. You can write it in the comments, or better yet, you can join my Facebook group. The link is down below if you haven't already. And that way you can take a photo of something that you have in your stash that you have no idea what it's for or how to use it, and put it into the Facebook group, and we're going to help you out. You need not suffer in silence, my friend. Please don't do that. And with that, I'm finally going to say goodbye. Thank you so much for sticking to the end. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.